Okay. And and one and two and three and now let's see. I don't know that I have got any kind of uh, any kind of audio here. Well, welcome into the Cosmic Watch. I don't think we have any audio at this particular time, so we will try and get this fixed if we can. Okay, very good, very good. Linda, Linda says I can hear you fine. Linda, I just don't see the green dots that usually come up on my set right here. So we we can we can start again. I'm Franklin. This is the Cosmic Watch. Welcome in, and welcome to another edition of the Cosmic Watch, where we check the skies and chat with people in our chat room. And here's Linda saying hi that she can hear us. Linda, the thing that we do is readings for those in our chat room, and that's something that I do regularly here at weforetell.com. And the way to get a reading with me is to find the contact number and the schedule below in the description, and then check out all of our free material right here on YouTube, things like the astrology. And please hit thumbs up because it really does make a difference. Thanks to you for your support. And now we'll get to the program. Um, Linda, the the first thing I ask anyone when I'm going to do a reading for them is to tell me something that's absolutely true, and that's your date of birth. And once you state or type in your date of birth, I can form a connection with you, and be glad to answer any questions that you have. This is a good evening for us getting together. When I ask what kind of a night we're going to have, I see it's just full of good things. It's going to be we have 1 hour, and we try to get into what is happening on this particular day of which is August the 18th of 2023. And those born today are born under the sun sign of Leo. And Leo is the fifth house. Leo is about discovering yourself through playing. A lot of people, playing means gambling or romantic playing. These things are very common in the Leo makeup. Now, the moon sign on this particular date of birth is in Virgo. And here's Linda saying, June 19, 1973, and just too many questions. Well, let's start out with that date of birth. 16, 26, 36. You know, three in numerology, you are a 3 plus 6 equals 9. And three three plus six. These are the different things that will come together to form your life, and that 9 is the overall. So 3 is about being able to express what is in your heart. And 6 there is about telling the truth. And to be a 3 plus 6, that means that other people telling you the truth, Linda, that's the yes or no for you. You know when someone is telling you the truth, and you don't hang around people that don't give you honest feedback, and that is what you give to people. So you're a 3 plus 6 equals 9. 9 means that you light the path for others to follow. You show others how to go about living your life. And the power in living this life is in doing things, right? And doing them with other people, other human beings, getting along with others. That's all the biggest thing in this world. This is why we study the different astrology signs. It's to give us a better understanding of the people that we are not. Of course, we understand our own sign. And here's Heather saying good evening and saying it's great to be here. And it is. Heather, it's a good evening for getting together and and increasing our power. Um, Linda, we were just talking to Linda, who is a 9, a 369, and 9 is about showing other people how it's done and how to do it with grace. And here's SJ checking in. The chat room is open to all of our subscribers to the channel here, and the uh, uh, the people in the chat room are are very generous people, willing to share their experiences with each other, and with me, and with with those who will be watching the podcast, and of course those who are watching on the live stream tonight. And what it shows us is how much we have in common with each other, and how much we can learn from each other. The um, the um, the, the get together that we have tonight with Linda, you got here first. If I pulled a card on Linda tonight, it's about getting new information, maybe going back to school, maybe training yourself for for a new job, learning something that you don't know, being interested enough, and looking for those humans. Yes, yes. Oh man, Heather is with us tonight, and Heather, the what I'm getting from you, and this is my personal card from the deck, and it's about releasing. It's about being freeing yourself of old things, Heather, of old rigid thought, and being free. You're freeing yourself, dear, from from what's held you back in the past, and releasing all of that. Yes, SJ, you are next. SJ needs a card for her, and it would be taking things one thing at a time and resting your mind because of this, right? Being able, SJ, to let things go, to things serve their purpose, then you share them with others, then you're grateful for them, and then you release them. You let them those things go. Linda says, thanks. The patient, she has been very present in my life. Yes, yes, yes. And oh man, there is so much going on. I wonder if any of you are. Linda says, SJ. Okay. now, yes. I wonder if any of you are feeling the presence of the spirits who are being displaced in Hawaii. That entire island was full of souls. Every piece of vegetation on that island contained a soul. Heather says, thank you. Could be moving forward in the job field. I feel anxiety increasing in that area. Heather, looking at Heather in the job field, in your career, dear, what's happening right now is tremendously good fortune around money. That concerns different generations. Different generations, Heather. That's the key toward in the job field. That's what your guides are saying. That if you find something where you can actually serve those older than you, those younger than you, the entire circle. Maybe it's even family, but this is you bringing everyone together, and that's what is giving you the anxiety about your job. Is it's going to change. You're about to change because see this is a 10. 10 is an ending, and it leads to a beginning. One door closes, another opens. This is change coming, but for the better, and exactly what you want to do, what you're best at. So that's when 10s come, it's about transition, and it's about a wake-up call, right? Wake up and smell the coffee. It's time to turn the page, let go of the past, and allow what good fortune wants to come into your life right now, dear. And you're the one that has to open the door. So often we block our own good fortune. We can sabotage ourselves, and sometimes it's even for things that we did in a previous life. Maybe we wasted money, didn't take it seriously in a previous life, and now we're afraid that maybe we have that in us. Of course, we know we have that in us, and we're fighting against it. And maybe that's what your life is all about. Why you're here is to get past that. Heather says, well, with thing are getting crazy. Coworker saying, if it gets bad, both. This is a time of reorganization within practically every business in the world right now. Everyone is trying to put a new plan into effect, and when everybody tries to change at the same time, they can't really learn anything from each other. Things are moving too fast right now as we sprint towards a recovery. The COVID years had us down and out. It figures it's going to be tough to get back on our feet and get to recover. And what I was talking about before is all of the displaced souls from the island of Maui. This has been a sacred spot for 10,000 years. And the Linda says, I think that the big question, what we are here to do and how we are going to do it. Finding out our fate, our destiny. And sure, that's what astrology is all about. This is why we try and read the stars. One of the most famous earth-changing astrological forecast was done for the Buddha. The Buddha was born to a king in India. And at that time, forecasts were only done for kings, queens, and of course their children. And when the Buddha was born, his astrological forecast says, if this one connects to the material world, he is going to be one of the richest people in the world. He's going to amass fantastic wealth. And if he connects to the spirit world, he will find great redemption, great forgiveness, which he did, and then spread that to the world. Linda says, my love goes out to them. Yes, our panel talking within the group there, and this what is going on right now in Hawaii is that souls have been displaced, and a lot of readers, a lot of seers, psychics throughout the world have foreseen a great wave of some sort coming into the west coast of this country, coming into California and up the west coast, and have, most people have thought it's a tsunami that was going to come, and I think that what we're seeing is an actual tsunami of souls coming from that island that have been displaced off of that island and have crossed the ocean, and in just a few days are going to arrive. And those who do have sight, have vision, are going to be able to communicate with these souls, because they will be here looking to find guidance, and there are guides among us. There are souls among us who have a bit of angel in them, and these souls are able to leave their sleeping bodies at night and be useful to the spirit world. And this is why this happens. So when a great number of souls are seeking refuge, seeking guidance, a way to get to the next world, they look for these guides who are part angel, and these people know who they are. They just as an old soul can look into the eyes of another old soul and say, "Hey, well, I recognize you're an old soul." Those who have a bit of angel in them are able to recognize each other, to see this, and they work together, just as humans here on Earth work together. That's what our lives are all about. Are finding that way to be able to work together and to use the knowledge and ability of everyone, and to not to not to be one of the great abilities of any human is being able to accept the help given to them by another human. And this is what Jesus was talking about when he spoke of the good Samaritan, an enemy, your enemy, wanting to help you, and can you accept the help of someone that you consider to be on the other side? So it's not all about giving love, giving help. It's so much of it is about our being able to accept the help of other people, to accept to accept that there is some good in what we consider to be the worst of people, and to know that conversely there is some bad in even those people that we consider to be ideal. No one's all good. No one's all bad. This is why we all have to work together. This is why we're all a piece of the puzzle out there, and we all fit together in this jigsaw puzzle somehow. And the reason, of course, that we're here is to be able to go to God, to meet God, uh, to uh, to be able to understand why we've been here, what the point was, what we're all trying to work out. And I truly believe that nobody goes to God until we all go together. That this is why we have to work together. This is why we have to understand that the worst of us are humans, and they desperately need our help, don't they? The very worst of humans, because everybody has to be enlightened. It's not enough that the Dalai Lama understands everything. It's the rest of us, that the other 8 billion souls that have to understand what within their own mind, within their own heart, within their own soul, that they are a part of a greater whole here, and that we will at some point in this eternity um, get to understand what what we really were doing here. And I think it's to love each other. Certainly, hating each other doesn't seem to work very well. Where does it get you? You hate takes you in the same patterns that you've already seen before. Hate makes you want to stay frozen in time. and maybe even move time backwards, go backwards in time. And this is why we have these retrogrades, to show us how impossible that is. Retrogrades. Humans believe what they see. And the retrogrades of the visible planets have always been a thing that humans can see. Now from a Earth, this moving platform, when we look at the inner planets at Venus and Mercury, they seem, because all planets move at different speeds, to at different times move backwards, but it's really just in relation to each other. But because this happens in the sky and people, humans, see it, they have always looked for meaning in everything. And there's so many humans throughout the centuries, the hundreds of thousands, billions of years, who knows? But they have always thought that what they see in the sky was related to what they were doing right here on Earth, astrology. And the fact that they have been able to see retrogrades actually occur out there. If everybody believes something, it becomes real. It manifests itself. SJ says it's so much to understand, and SJ, what brings it all together is that it's all a huge circle. Everything in this universe is circular. There's not a 90-degree angle out there anywhere in the universe. If you go far enough in the universe, you're going to curve back around and come to where you started from. We all started out in the unseen world. We're all going to end up back in the unseen world. It's a circle. And as we are making that circle, we have to understand that good and bad are 2 points on the same line. Good and bad describe each other like short and long. They can't exist without each other. They describe each other. Until you know bad, how can you appreciate good? So good and bad must come from the same place. They must come from the same source. How much bad can you take? God says that you will never receive more than you can handle. This is too much information, of course, is what caused Adam and Eve's problems, right? Wanting to be God, wanting to eat the fruit that told them good from bad. That's what the fruit from the tree of life gave to Adam and Eve, was the ability to know good from bad. And this is what the story in the Bible is telling us. I mean, God created the earth. He looked at the earth and he proclaimed it good. He proclaimed it good. And people wanted to have that ability. They wanted to be God, wanted to be able to play God, and this is why Adam and Eve broke the commandment, fell from grace. It's the rest of the story there is the wonderful news. And the rest of the story is written in the books that were removed from the Bible. Those are the book of Enoch and the books of Adam and Eve. These the books of Adam and Eve were removed in about the year 100 at an ecumenical council, which decided that if the Roman emperor were going to embrace Christianity, they were going to have to make some changes. So one of the changes was to take the books of Adam and Eve out. The books of Adam and Eve are what the wise men read. The books of Adam and Eve are the only other place that ever mentions bring the three gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. These were the three things that Adam and Eve were allowed to bring down from the Garden of Eden to the cave below in the Garden of Eden, where they were put out into. And Adam and Eve were so distraught over what they had done, over what they had done to all the creation that was going to come after them. They tried to commit suicide. Of course they did. What if you lost your connection to God? God removed you from the Garden of Eden. You would be very depressed. 3 different times Adam and Eve tried to commit suicide, and 3 different times the Word of God brought them back to life. Is this the beginning of reincarnation? I think so. 3 different times they jumped off a mountain once. They went into the water to drown themselves once. And once they just collapsed. And God felt so sorry for them. And this is the fantastic story that was removed from the Bible. God felt so sorry for them that he promised them that in only 5.5 days, and we find out that a God day is 1,000 years, God told them that in only 5,500 years, God was going to come to earth as a human being, Jesus, and would at that time take on not only their sins, their transgressions, Adam and Eve's transgressions, but also all the transgressions for the world. And of course that came to pass. And it is the good news that God forgives. God forgives. God is not the God of vengeance and punishment that the Greeks and the Romans and everybody since King James have always tried to present as. It's a story of forgiveness and of being able to forgive ourselves more than anything else in the world. That's what forgiveness is being able to forgive yourself and know that you have gotten right with God. So we've the real the real rest of the story in the second book of Adam and Eve is about Cain and Abel. Okay, so and the thing that we learn as an astrologer, the fantastic piece of information in the second book of Adam and Eve is that Cain was born with a bad attitude. He came into this life. Cain and Abel both had twin sisters. Cain, the older brother, came in mad at his twin sister in the womb. He was predisposed to everything that he did in his life. Cain was following a path that he could not get away from. It's it lets you know that we all have a destiny, a path, an attitude. See, this is why Cain has such a problem, is that he has a bad attitude. The whole thing between he and his brother comes to a head because of the sacrifices that they made. One, the sacrifice of Abel was received by God, and the sacrifice of Cain was not received by God. And this, as you might imagine, caused great anger. Adam and Eve, getting back to the story of the wise men and why they brought the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. It is because these are the three things that God allowed Adam and Eve to take from the Garden of Eden. And this, if you follow this, it's the reason that we've always thought that gold contains a spirit, that it's worth more than any other metal. Gold that they mention here was to provide light in the cave. God's days last 1,000 years. On the sixth day, they brought about humans, right? There's no sunlight. And in the cave, there has been light in the Garden of Eden because the trees give off this glow. And it is that glow that somehow is transferred into these golden rods that are taken from the garden down to the cave because there's no light. And Adam and Eve lose each other when there's no light. So providing that light for the cave was the reason to give the gold. Now, the frankincense and the myrrh, the trees in the Garden of Eden had a smell that was beyond description. That smell wafted down to the cave and was driving Adam and Eve crazy, smelling what they had left, knowing this. So it is those leaves and the smell of those leaves that are brought down through the frankincense and the myrrh. And these will be used by Adam and Eve as the first sacrifice. They go up on top of the mountain, build an altar, and they sacrifice what they have brought down from the Garden of Eden. They burned those leaves to God. And it was said that the fire of God came down and consumed those leaves. So when Cain and Abel are ready to make their um, sacrifice, um, Adam takes them up to the altar that he's built. He shows them exactly what to do. And Cain says he knows better. Cain takes the two smallest sheep that he had, and he takes them up to the altar, and he says, "Okay, God, here you go. You take them." And nothing happens. The fire does not come out and consume them. This is what causes the anger to well up inside of Cain, and of course, taking advantage of the situation is the serpent, Satan, who shows up at this time and tells Cain that you're not nearly, in your parents' eyes, you're not nearly what your brother is. And that infuriated Cain so much, and he kills his brother. And these are foreseen things. The frankincense, the myrrh, these things were taken down to the cave to have there when Adam died, to pack his body. Adam lives for 930 years. God has told him, if you ever break my commandment and you eat from that tree, you will die that same day. A God day is 1,000 years. 930 years was what Adam got. And then Adam is put into the cave where he stayed through the next 10 generations, where his body was. And it's because he's packed with these fragrances and incenses and all of this. But this is where the wise men will read that, and they also read in the book of Enoch. Enoch predicts that the elected one is going to come, and in Enoch's book there is a star map. This is how the wise men found Bethlehem, with the map that was in the book of Enoch. Now, the book of Enoch and the books of Adam and Eve are removed first in the council in about year 100, and then again in year 360 something, and then for 1,000 years they are unknown until they found the Dead Sea Scrolls in the 1300s. And in the Dead Sea Scrolls, they found enough fragments to be able to put those books back together, and but the information was never put back into the Bible. But of course, in earlier versions, those that were before 1800, they do exist, and these have always been a part of what was considered to be the Holy Scriptures up to a certain point, and then suddenly they're taken out, and it's hard. All of the information we know, but you don't know where you got that from, and it's always been passed along, from generation to generation, and this is how we learn. And one of the great things about humans is that they wrote things down. One of the awful things about humans is that they go back later and erase it and write something else. Anything that has ever been written down can be changed, probably has been changed. It's um, it's a very strange thing that has led us to this particular point in history. And this is my guides trying to tell me that this is important and get this out. the the way that we got here was by remembering what people told us when we were not writing things down, when we depended upon the oral history. You had to listen to people. You had to remember what they were saying. That was how we stored knowledge. Was by remembering and listening, paying attention to each other. When we started writing things down, and I guess Moses is the guy who started all this. Confucius, Moses, they started to write down the history as they knew it, and when things began to be written down, people really stopped listening to each other. So often today, when two people are conversing, one's talking, and the other is thinking about what they are going to say next. They're not really listening to what the other people said. So we come up with this phenomenon that we have now. A politician speaks to the world. One person hears one thing, and another person hears something completely different. How is that possible? It's because we're editing in our own mind. We hear what we want to hear. So often we see what we want to see. Anything subjective, you can read so much more into it. So the way that we got here is pretty easy to see. When we lose respect for each other, and we start to demonize anyone who disagrees with us, it's a very slippery slope. Once you start, there's really no end to it. Once you tell a lie, you're going to have to cover it. It's no lie stands alone, and this is the reason that we are having so much bad weather on Earth, the climate change. For how many thousands of years have all people in every country around the world meditated, prayed, tried to connect not only to God, but to the universe, to Mother Earth? And how many people have released things into the earth? How many people have freed themselves of those blockages inside of them by I release it. I release it back into the earth. It's gone. Well, it's not gone. It passes through the earth. And as it passes through the earth, it creates friction. Thought is real. Thought moves through your body. Thought creates friction that heats up the earth. If you ever wonder why these fires are just blazing up out of the ground, it's because of the lies that are being passed every single day by so many citizens who now consider lying to be the new way of communicating, of getting your thoughts across. Well, I'll just tell a better story and people will believe me this time. It really gets out of hand when we lose respect for each other, when we lose dignity. That's all Mahatma Gandhi ever asked for, was dignity for everyone. It's the only thing that will ever save the earth, that will ever straighten things out, is to allow dignity for everyone. And one of the ways that we do that is through astrology, by accepting the fact that each and every one of us has all 12 signs within them. As the moon sign changes, the mood of the country, the world changes along with the moon sign. And that's every 2.5 days. That's about right, isn't it? The whole mood of the world can change in such a small amount of time that it's very hard to keep up with. It's very hard to remember even what you said, much less what somebody else said. And this is the thing about astrology, is finding the places where we're alike, the connection points, and being able to really care about each other, to care enough to tell someone that they're wrong, in a way that would be constructive rather than destructive. Nobody's right all the time. And see, there's the real sticking point. If you find someone who cannot admit that they've ever made a mistake, well, they're making a really big mistake right there. And if you meet someone that you cannot forgive, that is your guides telling you that you can't do anything for that person. You can't help them. Best to get away from them. Nothing good is going to come of you being with someone who has done something that you cannot forgive. That's the real way of telling, is this person my soulmate? Is this person, am I going to be with this person the rest of my life? It's all about whether or not you can forgive them. Everybody, all 8 billion people on this earth today, make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. If you can forgive the mistakes, then this is your guides telling you that that person should be forgiven, that you need them in your life. There's a reason for them to be in your life. Either you're going to help them or they're going to help you. So as as people filter through our life, what we're trying to find is a way to forgive them, to uh, to let them know that we're on their side. That it means so much. So what are the odds? Figure this up if you're going to Vegas next time. What are the odds of two souls being able to find each other at exactly the right time for both of them? They're both free to, maybe not, but they both decide to get together at that same time, and that a year later they've been able to forgive each other of their transgressions. The odds are astronomical against any two souls getting together and living happily ever after. This is why there's such chaos within the social dating scene. It's when more people get divorced than are getting married in a particular year, and there's big changes coming. Big changes have already gotten here, and as we see. And the worst thing we can ever do is to try and tell each other what to do. And that means we all have to think for ourselves. We all have to figure out what we think is the perfect world, not what someone is telling us we should do, what they would want us to do. It's so much easier for anyone to try and change the people around them than it is for them to change themselves. Most people consider that to be impossible. So, why would your life purpose be anything easy? When you think about it, your life purpose must be to do whatever you consider to be impossible to do. To Hatfield forgive a McCoy. It just ain't possible, right? This is how we consider that. It's okay for everybody else, but in my case, what happened to me was so bad that I'm unique. I can't possibly forgive. Well, until you can, you're not really forgiving yourself, and that means you're not really forgiving God. And yeah, so that's people being angry at God is a cause of so much self-destruction, because you can't win. you the odds are stacked against you. But these are the sort of things that we all try to figure out as we go through. And before we leave our hour tonight, let me just remind you that we do say thank you to all of our participants in the chat room. And remember to hit the thumbs up button to show your support, because it really does make a difference. Thank you so much for being here, and thanks again to all those who took part. Until next time, next week, same time, same place. I'm Franklin. This is the Cosmic Watch. See you next time.